Best way to open up a Zoom room. Felicia, thank you so much. And thank you all, you beautiful humans. Thank you for being here. It is so wonderful to be with all of you tonight. Shavua Tov, a good week. I hope that whatever your Shabbat was, that it filled your cup in some way. While I'm talking, please make yourselves comfortable. We're all really, really just glad to be together tonight. I'm Ariela Morkowitz, the founding director of SVIVAH. We have beautiful faces here tonight. Thank you for being here. If you're new here, please stay till the end and introduce yourself. I promise I won't run off. About SVIVAH. SVIVAH is revolutionizing the way that women come together in community, using Jewish community to empower women as individual change makers in our own lives and in the world, discovering and exploring the unique and beautiful Torah that comes from our lived experience, and building the kind of community that holds us and makes us stronger. We define both Jewish and women very broadly. If you want to be with us, we want you with us and welcome. And thank you to Rabbi Sarah Noyevitz for your help tonight, and to the delightful Tara Hain, who may or may not be related to me, who is also here hanging out and helping out tonight. And as always, an immense, giant thank you to Rabbanit Dalia Davis, our Director of Pastoral Education, for intuiting that we would need this warmth, this group hug tonight. I'm just going to say, if you happen to have it nearby, maybe bring something that smells nice to you. It could be something from your spice rack, a flower, a perfume, your fresh laundry, maybe something that brings light, a small candle, a match, or even the flashlight on your phone, and something to drink, anything that you've got. And if you don't have any of those things, do not stress. I have you more than covered with my pile on the side over here, so you don't need to have anything at all. And if you have it, grab like a scrap of paper, a napkin, something to scribble with, nothing special, just whatever you have nearby that you can pull over. Rabbanit Dalia, thank you. Shavua Tov, thank you for this. Instead of turning on my phone after Shabbat with my shoulders tense and braced for whatever might be in my newsfeed, thank you for bringing me here. This feels way, way better. And I am very, very grateful to you. So thank you for starting off our week this way. All yours.
Thank you so much, Ariela. And thank you, everybody, for joining us and being here together. I wanted to start this program by sharing something very similar to what Ariela just said, which is that my personal practice is to unplug from my phone for Shabbat. And I've noticed that basically for over a year now, when the sun starts to set on Shabbat day, I start to get very edgy and anxious, waiting to turn my phone back on and see what's going to be waiting. I start to wonder, when I turn my phone on, is everything going to be okay? Is there good news waiting for me? Perhaps during the 25 hours that I've been unplugged, all the problems in the world have been solved and all of our prayers have been answered. But more often than not, when I open my phone again, I am flung back into a state of worry, of overwhelm, and sometimes despair. It's the doom scrolling, as Ariela mentioned in her email. This emotional state is in stark contrast to the phrase that we said at the beginning and often wish each other at the end of Shabbat, Shavua Tov, or Good Vach, have a good week. How can we start our week in a way that allows us to embrace this idea of Shavua Tov? How can we start from a place of uplift and inspiration? Rabbanit Aliza had an idea. What if we start our week together as a community? We can learn Torah, do Havdalah, and elevate our souls through beautiful music. And that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. We're going to intentionally start our week off as a Shavua Tov. So let's begin by learning some Torah together. After the Torah learning, we'll do a musical Havdalah and sing some more beautiful songs together. The Torah that I would like us to learn together tonight is reflective of the moment of the year that we're in right now, when the hours of darkness are increasing, the light is decreasing, and we're heading into the winter months towards the solstice. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the same story, 3 different versions of it, presented slightly differently. I'll share the sources with you in a second. And we're going to, as we look at these texts, we're going to look for the differences. What are the differences between these 3 stories? And take note of them, and also consider what might be the meaning behind these differences. Because I believe there's some intentionality there, and there's something for us to learn from the changes. So Rabbi Noah, if you can share the sources with us, thank you so much. So the story we're going to be looking at tonight is called Adam in the Darkness. This Adam refers to the first man on earth, and we're going to see how he relates to darkness. So let's go to the first slide, please. Okay, so this first text is from the Talmud, from Tractate Avodah Zarah, and it says, Tani Rabbanan, Lefi Sher'a Adam Harishon, Yom Sheme'amet, Holech ve'omer oili, Shema b'shvil shesarachti olam choshech badi, v'chozer letohu vavohu. So Adam, the first man, saw that the days was progressively diminishing as the days became shorter from the autumnal equinox until the winter solstice. And he said, woe is me, perhaps because I sinned, the world is becoming dark around me and will ultimately return to the primordial state of chaos and disorder. Now, the reason that Adam thought this was because this was the first time this had ever happened in the history of the world. He had never gone through a year yet, and he had never seen that the days get darker, but then afterwards, the days get lighter. So he didn't know what was happening. Now, please share in the chat, how would you characterize his response in this moment? Right, he says, oily, maybe it was me. So just going to slide you over so I can see the chat. Okay, feel free to jump in there. Okay. And as you're thinking about that, I'm going to share the rest of this page. Normal. I love that answer, right? Normal. We blame ourselves. It must be something that I did, and that's why the entire world is getting darker. Gloomy and pessimistic. It seems like a very human reaction. That darkness is a punishment. Childlike. Interesting. Okay, so what happens next? He then thinks that this is going to be death for him. And I'm going to the bottom, the last phrase. Amad v'yashav chet yamin b'ta'anit u'b'tfilah. He arose and he spent 8 days in fasting and in prayer. And so I would kind of characterize this, and tell me if you think otherwise, as a religious or a spiritual response. He sees things getting dark, he fasts and he prays, and he reaches out to God and hopes that God will solve this problem for him and will save him from the darkness. Okay, next slide, please. Then what happens? Once he saw the season of Tevet, he gets to the winter solstice, had arrived. He saw that the day was progressively lengthening, and then he said, Minhago shel olam. I now realize that this is the natural order of the world. And then he went and observed a festival for 8 days. Does anyone want to suggest what this might be connected to? A possible origin for any holidays coming up with 8 days? Right, so this is a hint towards Hanukkah, although many, many years before the Hanukkah story will take place. Okay, so this is one version. Version 1, Adam, when he feels scared that the world is coming to an end, he fasts and prays, he waits, he sees that the world is going to be okay and the light is increasing, and then he does some type of spiritual response of celebrating for 8 days. Okay, keep that in mind. That's version number 1. Now let's see version number 2. Okay, the second version is in the same source, also in Tractate Avodah Zarah in the Talmud. And here it's a slightly different version. So what happens? On the day that Adam, the first man, was created, when the sun set upon him, okay, so here's our first difference. Instead of it being that he went through many weeks and is seeing the solstice coming, it's the first day of his life. He has never yet seen sunset. And when he sees sunset, that creates the fear within him. Okay, so he gets scared. He says the same thing. Oily, woe is me, and because I sinned, the world is becoming dark around me. And the world will return to the primordial state of chaos and disorder. And this is the death that was sentenced upon me from heaven. Then what does he do next? This is also a difference. Yoshev b'ta'anit u'bocha kol halayla v'chava bocha kenegdo. He spends all night fasting and crying, and Eve was crying opposite him. Okay, so they were together in this moment, crying. How would you characterize this response? Right, the first one we said maybe was like a spiritual type of response. Anyone who want to characterize this response of crying with Eve? Anxiety attack. Yeah, I kind of, how do they know about the sin yet? Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, they have not yet sinned. So that's an excellent question. Depression, grief, right here, despair. Excellent, right? He's having all of the things that you're putting in the chat are these emotional responses, scared. So here they're having an emotional response. And then let's see the next slide. What happens next, please? Thank you. Then once the dawn broke, he says the same thing. Minhago shel olamhu. This is the way of the world, right? The sun sets and the sun rises. And then he brought a sacrifice to thank God. Okay, so in the first case, we saw Adam having some type of spiritual response. In the second case, we see him having an emotional response. And now we'll look at the third version. This one's not in the Talmud, this one's in the Midrash. Oh, when I look at it, the Hebrew's on top of the English. Is that just me? No, is that true for everyone?
Me too. I'll see if I'll pull up the original slides online.
Thank you so much. While you're doing that, I just want to share, there was another comment. I like the comment in the chat that says, he's doing it not just alone this time. He has a partner to share it with, and he has this need to share the fear with somebody else, right? He doesn't just want to go through this alone, but he asked for a partner, was given this partner, and now they're going to go through this together, both sitting in fear, not knowing that the sun is going to rise again, which actually, when we sit and think about that, it's just something that we know will be okay. But in that moment, they both don't know that there will ever be light again. And I think there's moments in our lives where we can kind of feel that, where we're like, where is the hope? Where will the light come from? I just can't figure out. I can't envision how that will be. Okay. So now let's look at this third piece from the Midrash, Bereshit Rabbah. And it says, Rabbi Levi said in the name of Rabbi Zera, the primordial light functions for 36 hours, 12 on the day before Shabbat, 12 on the night of Shabbat, and 12 on Shabbat. Now, for me, that's a lot of math in the first sentence. So let's do it this way. What this source is saying is that Adam was created on day 6. And on day 6 at night, there was no sunset. So this is a direct contradiction to the previous story we saw in version 2. There was no sunset that day. God kept it light all the way through Friday night, through Shabbat. And so the first time Adam experienced sunset was on Shabbat day. Okay, so that's his first sunset. And when that happens, the sun set at the conclusion of Shabbat, darkness began approaching, and Adam became afraid. Next slide, please. Ma'asa HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what did God do? Zimen lo shnei ra'afim, he gave him 2 flints, and Adam struck them against each other. V'yotzei mehen or, and light came from them. Ubarech alaha, and he blessed over it. And what blessing did he make? Borei me'orei ha'esh, the blessing that we make on the light in Havdalah. And the way that I see this version, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat, is that this one is very different. In the first 2, Adam waits, and then the time passes, the sun sets, the sun rises, the solstice comes, and then the days get longer. But he doesn't do anything to make the light come. Here, he is given the tools. God hands him these flints, and he's able to create light on his own. I see someone said the first show of agency. Yeah, that's an excellent point, right? Here, he's given agency. He's given the ability to create light. And I'd like to invite everybody for a moment to just kind of think about these 3 responses. One is the spiritual response, one is an emotional response, and one is a response that includes agency, it includes action. And if you feel comfortable sharing, which of these kind of feels like where you're at right now? Which one is resonating with you? And of course, if you don't feel like you fit into one of those boxes, you're welcome to share that as well. Because I think we kind of go through all of these three different moments. And one piece that really stands out is that we can have these different emotional reactions. And sometimes you don't realize that it's okay to have the other one. We may not realize it's okay to find a way to connect spiritually or to connect emotionally. Sometimes you don't feel like we have that agency. But really, these three versions offer us all three options. Depends on whether I'm given the tools. Excellent answer. Yeah, very much so. I agree. Okay, so as you're sharing, and I invite you to keep doing so, we are going to have a really special Havdalah experience right now, which is that we are going to be able to hear the beautiful Havdalah sung by Felicia, who I'm going to introduce to you and reintroduce because she's been here before, and we're so grateful to have her back to share her beautiful music with us. Felicia Sloin is a cantorial soloist, a Jewish educator, and a music teacher from Holyoke, Massachusetts. In Northampton and the Pioneer Valley, Felicia is known for her soulful singing groups and classes, drumming, creative family programming, and musical puppet shows. And you can see Felicia's full bio in the chat. Felicia is going to sing us through Havdalah and beyond. And as she does so, please feel free to hold in your hands the items that Ariella mentioned before, just as Adam held the flints. So you can participate in the Havdalah. It can be actual Havdalah items or anything that feels like you want to hold on to it with light and with smell and something that's inviting, or it could be a drink as well. Please sing along. We're going to have the lyrics on the screen and enjoy. Welcome in the Havdalah. Thank you so much, Felicia.
I really needed this tonight, and I so appreciate being included. You have no idea. Well, maybe you do. Of course, we all do. We all know how much we need this. I just wanted to share a little bit before I start singing. I want to acknowledge the limitations of singing together on Zoom. If we were in person, we would be able to hear each other's voices and see each other's smiles and look into each other's eyes and feel the energy that is created when we come together in song and prayer. Zoom does not allow this depth of connection. However, what it lacks in depth, it creates in breadth. Zoom has brought us here, people from all over, to pause and join together in a powerful moment of togetherness. And I invite all of us to bring our full selves to our singing, imagining our individual voices braiding together like the Havdalah candle, making us stronger. And maybe sense the sweetness of the wine or whatever we're drinking and the spices, and feel the warmth of the flame and see its reflection in ourselves and in our souls. And may our song uplift us and unite us and bring sweetness to the week ahead. So with that said, please join me in singing. El Yeshuati Eftach Bilo Evchan Ki Aziv Zimrat Yad Adonai Vayehi li Yeshua Uveshavtem mayim bisason mimayne haYeshua L'Adonai haYeshua alamecha virchatecha selah Adonai Tzivaot imanu I can hear you singing. Yehudim ha'ta'ora b'simcha v'sason bikar ken tiyeh lanu ay 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 na 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 ay na 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 ay na 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 Kos Yeshua Asa Uveshem Kos Yeshua Esa Uveshem Adonai Ekra. Ya nai na 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 nai nai ya nai na 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 nai nai ya na 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 nai nai na nai na 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 nai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen. Ya nai na 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 nai nai ya na 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 nai nai ya nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai ya nai na 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 nai nai ya nai na 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 nai nai ya nai na 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 nai nai ya nai na 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 nai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim ya nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai ya nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh ya nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai ya nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai ya na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdi Tumba, 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 tumba. Can you sing that with me? Tumba, 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 tumba. Don't stop singing tumba. Eli, 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 ah, Eliyahu Hanavi. Tumba, 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 tumba. Eli, 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 ah, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Agiladi. Tumba, 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 tumba. I have a couple of other songs I want to share. I'm not using these exact words, so don't get nervous if I sing something a little bit different in the Ladino, in the Judeo-Spanish. This is a song that I just love, and I just never get a chance to sing it in front of people. This is just a beautiful, beautiful Havdalah that I learned from Basia Schechter from Pharaoh's Daughter. So worth listening to if you haven't heard her music. May the one who separates the holy and the everyday forgive any sins and slights. May our families and our fortunes be as many as the grains of sand or the stars in the sky at night. המבדיל בין קודש לכל חטאותינו, ימחל זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול, וככוכבים בלילה לכבוד חמדת לבבי. אליהו הנביא לכבוד חמדת לבבי. Cabeza Shekhinah del Dios en cada el día, en cada el noche lejevot Chemdat levavi. Eliyahu hanavi lechevot Chemdat levavi. Eliyahu hanavi. Back to the Hebrew. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol חסבנו ירבה כחול וככוכבים בלילה לכבוד חמדת לבבי. אליהו הנביא לכבוד חמדת לבבי. אליהו So I want to leave you with one more song. And for this last musical offering, I want to share a song that I learned this summer at a gathering, and it has since become one of my mantras. It's a song I sing when I'm feeling lost, ungrounded, insecure about the world and my place in it. We are surely living in challenging times, and it's so easy to feel like we're not doing enough, giving enough, being enough. Some days it's easy to feel like we've lost our way. And the message of this song is, you don't have to know the way. The way knows the way. You don't have to know the way. The way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way. Trust the way. Feel your way. The way knows. The way knows. The way knows the way. You don't have to know the way. The way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way. Trust the way. Feel your way. The way knows. The way knows. The way knows the way. Please sing it with me. Here we go. You don't have to know the way. The way knows the way. You don't have to plan the way. Trust the way. Feel your way. The way knows. The way knows. The way knows the way. The way knows the way. The way knows the way. Shavua Tov.
Thank you so much, Felicia. That was really, really beautiful. And I want to share with everyone that it was really just an amazing thing that came together. In that when I asked Felicia, what songs do you want to sing tonight? One of the songs she said was the Hamavdil song that has Ladino in it. And what's so amazing is that Ariella and Eliza and I have just been talking about how we can bring in other elements of Jewish culture and Jewish women's voices in different languages and from different backgrounds. And she just happened to come up with this idea, and it was just so perfect. So thank you. It was just incredible to hear that Ladino and to bring that into our space. It was just beautiful. Thank you so much. And in that vein, I'm wondering if people, just by a raise of hands, you could do a virtual or an actual raise of hands. If anyone here is Sephardi, and I don't know how I'm going to see you, but do you have any Sephardi women here tonight? One of our teachers, Dr. Gila Ben Kamal, one of our beloved teachers, she shared with us a Sephardi version of Havdalah, and it includes a moment where you stop in the middle of Havdalah and offer brachot for all the people present. There's a special bracha for children and for adult men and for adult women, and it really thinks about what are the things that people need in their lives, and what are the things that can be offered and what can be prayed for the people present. And we have a version of this. It's very cool because it's actually an old piece of paper that was photographed. It's not one of these electronic pieces. So you're about to see it there. You can see this beautiful tefillah. And, as I was seeing some of the messages in the chat, I think that it would be really special if in this moment we also kind of took a moment and stopped, because a lot of people are mentioning that there's a lot of darkness going on, and we're making this space a space of light, but we also want to send our prayers out for people who are experiencing darkness, who've seen the news and who are in that moment, and whatever the darkness is that you're holding in your heart, let us just all say a tefillah together that anyone who is in suffering, anyone who is in a place of pain should find a moment of healing, and we can kind of close our eyes. And if you want to say any specific words that are meaningful to you, I invite you to do so, and we'll just take a second here to do that. And if you're still in the middle of that prayer, feel free to continue. For all of our Mizrahi women, we want to really honor you tonight because November is Mizrahi Heritage Month. And so it is a time to honor and send extra love to all of our Mizrahi friends and to really honor the special gifts that you give to the Jewish people. And all of this is a lead-in to something really special that we're going to be doing in December, a Her Torah night that is going to be all about Jewish women from all different places. Ariella is going to tell us a little bit more about that later on tonight, but I want to first give us a moment to, before we go to December, let's be present in this moment as we head into this week. So before Ariella invited you to grab a pen and a piece of paper or a napkin or any type of scrap that you might have. So we're going to grab that and hold it near us. You can just put it down in front of you or near you. And let's just invite you to close your eyes for a minute and let's take it all in. So you can close your eyes. You can take a deep breath together. You can breathe in and we can breathe out. And as you think about tonight, you can re-envision in your mind the beautiful songs that Felicia sang, the beautiful Havdalah. And I invite you to focus on the words in particular. LaYehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason v'yikar kein tia lanu. For the Jews there was light and joy and gladness and honor. So let it be with us. And you can envision it for a moment yourself holding these flints. You may want to close your hands so you can hold on to those flints really tight. And ask yourself, what is the light that you are going to create this week? What is the light that you are going to create this week by banging these flints together? It might be light in your own life. It might be light in the life of a loved one. It might be light in the life of someone that you have never met. But think about a way, whether it's big or small, that you are going to create life this week, this very busy Thanksgiving week. And when you have an idea, I invite you to scribble it down on your piece of paper. So you can write on your paper, you can write on your napkin. Don't write it on your hand because I want it to stay with you all week. Hopefully that won't be the case if you write it on your hand. So write it down. And we'll just take a minute to let everybody write it down. And like I said, it can be something small. It could be something that will directly impact you. It could be something that you're sending out into the world. And as you're writing on your paper, I also invite you to think about where are you going to place this paper? Because you're not going to throw it out when we're done. You're going to place it somewhere that you're going to see it all week long. You might want to put it on your bathroom mirror. You can tape it to the back of your phone. You can put it on your nightstand so you see it when you wake and when you go to sleep. Just think for a minute about where you're going to place this paper. And when you're ready, I'd love if everyone can hold up the paper. We don't have to see what you've written. You could hold it up backwards if you'd like, but just so we all see that we're in this together, and together we're all creating light. And you can hold your paper up when you're ready in front of the screen. So we can see each other without reading the papers, just seeing the papers up there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I see some really big papers. Thank you so much. Okay, amazing. And now if you can put in the chat something, you can share what your light is going to be You can share where you're going to put your light. You can share both. You can say that you need some suggestions. That's fine too. But just feel free to put in the chat whatever feels right to share now about your light or about where you're going to put it. And feel free to read each other's comments, of course. But if it goes by too quickly, don't worry, because Ariella, in her brilliant way, is going to collect all of these and share whatever people are comfortable sharing in some amazing way in the follow-up email. So I'm just going to read a few to amplify your voices, and so we can draw inspiration from each other. Music and drumming with anxious middle schoolers. I use the sticky function on my computer, so it'll be on my computer screen. Oh, that's a great idea. Reminder to walk into rooms this week with warmth and open arms. Where will I create light? Oh, that one just moved. I'm sorry, I missed it. Making healthy, delicious food and bringing joy. I'm going to take a Thanksgiving treat to my physical therapist on Wednesday. Be happy and grateful. Be positive. I'll write a letter to my cousin in Israel who has a son serving on a second tour. These are just, thank you, everybody. I'll read one more. Let the fire flame within my heart shine for those who need. Tape it on my nightstand by my lamp. Beautiful. Keep sharing. We're going to collect them all, and we'll share them all with each through Ariella at the end. Okay, but before I do pass to Ariella and let her give you the final announcements, all the fun stuff and good positive energy coming up, I just want to close by wishing you a really deep and genuinely felt Shavua Tov. May this week be filled with only love, blessings, good news, and light. Shavua Tov, everyone.
Goodness, Dalia, this was so special. I promise I'm going to do my best to pull together all of these beautiful blessings and intentions and kavanot into something that we can all just like feel this group throughout the week and like capture each other and keep us with us on our bedside tables or taped to the fridge, wherever, so that we all stay with each other all week. And I love. Thank you, Felicia, for this beautiful celebration of different Havdalah customs from Jewish women around the world. That's like amazing. And I love just feeling connected to the things that we all do together, but hearing the different ways that we show up for them. It's awesome. I love that when it comes out like in so many different ways when we come together, when all of you share the different ways that the different customs that you have. For me, it's just like so exciting to hear different ways that we show up in the world with each other. This leads us to our next Torah that Dalia was mentioning. I am going to ask you a special favor to save the date for our next Torah because it's a special one. We're experimenting again with a Sunday, December 8th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to explain why. We're bringing together beautiful educators from around the world, which is amazing, and it feels like this is the moment that we need to do it. We're having educators from the US, from Israel, from Amsterdam, from Ukraine, from Iran. It's wild. And so, yes, it's the middle of the day on a Sunday, but it is for good reason. And each educator is going to talk about what their community is going through right now, what they need from all of us around the world, and what they want other Jews to know about them, and the Torah that's really speaking to them and holding them right now. And I don't know about you, but I have been feeling this sense of like divisiveness and distance to a point that like really feels painful. And I want to know more about my sisters around the world, what worries fill their days, where they find strength, what they need from me, what I'm misunderstanding about them or just not aware of in their experience. And a little bit for me, this Her Torah feels like a giant long distance phone call with friends and family that we haven't spoken to in too long. So put it on your calendar for Sunday, December 8th. I really hope that you can join us and just pop in. These are some very, very special women, and they were so glad that we changed our usual time so that they could be part of SVIVAH because it's the middle of the night or whatever it is. And they were thrilled to be able to be part of our community. So they're very, very excited to come and teach and talk and hear from all of you. So please do join us speaking of friends and family, it is Thanksgiving this week for those of you who celebrate. I know that's not for everybody. But while there are lovely and joyful things about Thanksgiving and sweet potato pie, I know that it can also be a hard time for some of us, missing family, not having family, having a hard time being with family. So we're sending love to everybody and just wanting to just remind all of you how thankful we are for you. As a PS, this happens to be SVIVAH's birthday weekend, which is crazy. We are 6 years old. So it's just an opportunity to be really, really thankful for this special little corner of the world, and all of you who are in it. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for starting the week off in this very, very beautiful way. You can all go and doom scroll your hearts out now. But I'm very, very grateful to have this little piece of light that I get to hang on to. And I'm very, very grateful that each of you showed up for the same. So thank you so much for being here.